Evening, everybody. It's 5:25 on Tuesday, the 17th, and this is your closing comment for the day. It's video number 1282. Okay, today we had a bunch of economic numbers. Um, they were pretty much a mishmash. Retail sales were up, but they're not adjusted for inflation, so higher prices automatically mean higher sales. They actually were up 0.9%, and we were actually expecting 1%, so it didn't quite do it. Ex autos and gas, it was up 1%, and that should give you an idea of how negatively autos and gas actually were. Industrial production came out a little later, up 1.1% versus 0.5% expected. And capital utilization was 79%, which is a tie for second place, going all the way back to 2008. The big news on the day was Walmart having its worst day since 1987. The stock closed 131.45. That's down 16.76 or 11.3%. And on a day where the Dow was up 431, that included Walmart taking 111 points off the Dow. On the upside on the Dow, we had the two biggest winners being Goldman Sachs and Boeing, adding 64 and 52 respectively. So after the Walmart beat, Walmart's miss, the Home Depot beat looked pretty good. Stock traded well over 300, closed 301, up 493, 1.7%. And UAL is issuing guidance. Their CEO is talking this up, and I don't get it. I truly don't. I don't believe it. I don't think the consumer is going to be doing a lot of traveling. We know business travel hasn't picked up yet. But they keep on talking about what great shape the consumer's in, and yet you have the biggest retailer in the country going down 11.3% on its second worst day. Okay, the NAHB housing number was 69. That was versus a 75 estimate and a 77 for April, so not great. On the upside, we did have Boeing, which really looked great. The stock has really gotten beaten up. And finally, today, the Chinese authorities said that it looked like the plane that went down, the South China airplane that went down on purpose. It was not the plane, it was the pilot. And so I'm sure we'll start to hear a little bit more about that. But as far as the mega caps, Boeing was really a champ. 132.38, up $8.33. As I said, that was 52 points. It added to the Dow. And it was also the biggest percentage gainer in my mega cap sector, up 6.72. Of my 12 sectors, there was only one that was mixed to lower, and that was the most defensive of them, the food supply chain group. Okay, so the Dow was up 431, Nasdaq up 2.75%, up 321. Both of them were roughly 3-to-1 advance declines. Volume was still a little on the light side at 4.9 billion. That's versus last week's peak on the rally of 6.6 billion. So substantially lower. And the S&P was up 84 or a little over 2%. What was also interesting was the biggest gainer was the Russell, up 56.87 or 3.19, but right behind it, up 435, were the transports, up 3.16. So literally 0.03% between the first two, the best and the second best group index. Oil was down a little. I mentioned this morning that it looked like we were into an area that might cause it a little bit of pain, just running into supply up here. The high back here was 116.64. This morning when we talked, we were trading 115 and change. That's as far as we got. It wasn't down much, but it was down on the day. I wouldn't be surprised to see it back at 107, 106 and a half before moving up. This is certainly an area that should cause it a little bit of aggravation. Let's look. 5 days ago, it was 98.20. This morning, it was 115 and a half. The chart that I had up on the screen, though, was the nat gas, which again is moving higher. It has actually pulled back pretty nicely, and this chart is really classic. I mean, it made a bottom, it rallied, it came back to test the breakout, consolidated across, broke out from the downtrend on the way up, rallied up to this peak around $8, came right back down to the 20-day moving average and an area of support, moved up, tested that 20-day again, and then ran all the way up to just under $9. And then it had that 3-day pullback right to the same area. Important breakout, important test, secondary test, and higher. I don't think that there's really much question about this going higher. The gold was up 490. Unfortunately, it had been substantially higher during the day, trading as high as 1834 before coming back in and closing at 1818. So not a great performance there. It was a higher high and a higher low, so we do have that. Closed just under the 5-day. And I think we're probably going to continue to consolidate in this area before we can move higher. One of the main things, though, is the gold was up 0.27. The silver, which bottomed a day earlier and has, I think, been acting better than the gold statistically, did it again today, up 0.92. So almost 3.5 times the move in silver as in gold. And I think that we can get up into this 22 and a quarter, 22 and a half area without much trouble. Bitcoin was up 495 to 30,000 even. The dollar was down 0.8%, which is a pretty nice move in a day. 103.40 after being over a point higher on Thursday and Friday. The bonds were down 1.25. And that's about it, folks. I'll be back first thing in the morning with your pre-opening comment. We don't have a lot of news tomorrow, economic news tomorrow, but we do have some more earnings, so we'll be on top of it. Have a good evening.